Welcome to The Lift with Sheila Robinson Kiss. Come on in. There's always a special place set aside for you here where you can relax, kick up your heels, pour yourself a nice, refreshing drink, and prepare to be lifted and soar. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, and welcome back to The Lift with Sheila Robinson Kiss. We've got it all here: mental health, movement, motivation, and the best relationship advice around. So if you're loving what I'm doing, please don't forget to subscribe and share the news of the channel with your friends and family. It is wonderful to connect with you again, and I just can't wait to dive into today's topic. What is the proper way? The proper way to take control of negative thoughts, toxic internal chatter, and get control of your mind. I want to read a letter from Bryn. Thank you so much, Bryn. Was very an inspirational note for me to receive, and really the reason I'm sharing this message today. So here we go. Dear Sheila, I was hesitant to send this note. I'm taking a chance, and I think you will get it. I'm 39 years old, have stable employment, a few friends, and I'm in a relationship. I live with toxic thoughts in my mind most of my life. I deal with near nonstop chatter and images that remind me of the past or doomsday conversation about my present and future. I could be driven to the brink of insanity, except there's a quieter voice in me reminding me you're not crazy, keep trying, it will get better. It's not really getting better. I'm just used to this now. I dream of having a peaceful mind. Can you advise, is there a way to stop this incessant negative chatter, Bryn? Bryn, uh, yes, you've come to the right place. And the one thing that I love about this channel, evolution, my life, your life, is we are constantly gathering data and information to enhance our lives. And I've tackled this topic before on the channel, but your note comes at a good time because there is much more robust information that I have to share, and I just want to infuse into your lives today. So, to be clear, there are three pathways. There may be a few more, but I'm going to deal with three specific targeted pathways that really set us up to enter into full-on combat. That constant turmoil of, I'm thinking this, I'd rather not be, I can't shut this off. Number one is patterns. Um, uh, Patterns of thinking that are deeply rooted in history. I'm going to talk about each of these. The second one is um, implants from dark influences. I will get into that a little bit more too. And then self neglect, just not taking the time to sit down and take deeper dives and really cultivate that relationship with self and pay attention and be mindful and aware of what is going on around us, what is happening in our heads, what influences are we under. Um, and then I want to give you some very specific things for you to start doing today. My information for you, it's really plug and play. I don't like to deal in abstract and maybe you can sit and think about this. I like to give you things to do. The body of this work is really about implementation. So, a few words about how we come to believe, ingest, make a part of us these toxic messages that we receive from the past. I was sitting with a man some years ago, and it really struck me because he was in his early 50s and he kept saying, Sheila, I'm not as bright as a lot of people. He would just say it's like effervescent, like this was just a sheer fact that he knew with 100% positivity. Sorry, guys. Ooh. And I asked him one day, I said, you keep saying that you preface that before you talk about dating. You mention that before you talk about something new you want to do at work. You mention that. Is that just a conclusion that you've come to based on your own experiences, or where did that come from? And he had to think about it a little bit. And he said, Sheila, growing up, I had two brothers who were just exceedingly bright, and effortless. School was simple for them. And my parents would always just tell me, it's okay. You're not necessarily as smart as them, but there's still going to be things you can do. It was just understood in our family. And what really struck me and in some ways broke my heart, he adopted this. This was a stance that had never been challenged. He never stopped at any point in his life to unpack that and say, you know what, this may be some BS. Maybe my brothers weren't Einsteins. Maybe we just learned differently. Or maybe I had strengths and have strengths and talents that my parents just couldn't see clearly. Or maybe their intelligence or lack thereof shouldn't have been the measuring stick for my life and my abilities and my competencies. It was just never unpacked. He just accepted it as if this has to be the running factual information from here on out. So, what I really want to connect you to is it is essential, if you have not done this in your life yet, um, it's critical that you begin to sit back and really ask yourself the things that are going on in my head, particularly where I'm concerned, my thoughts and opinions of myself, my thoughts and opinions of others. What is the point of origin? Because many times when you take a deeper dive into this work, you will discover I this is not an authentic discovery or based on research or based on my own experience. That's not what this is. This has been based on either my parents put it there or I grew up in an environment where it was just accepted. And I've just done no challenging in this area. So that's number one. Where we can get these toxic, debilitating thoughts, they come from long standing toxic and faulty programming. Okay? That's number one. I want you to hold on to that because I want to share a few words about implants that come from dark influences. And if you followed my channel, I've been very candid. And one might say, well, Sheila, it's just an interesting philosophy. For me, it's not an interesting philosophy. It truly is common sense reasoning. And those of you who are spiritually minded will easily follow what I'm saying. When you think about those influences that very much exist, but we simply just cannot see them with our physical eyes, but we can feel them and discern with our spiritual senses, um, where would the attack happen? Okay, if dark influences had the power to really turn our lives upside down in the physical realm. You would see bridges collapsing all over. You would see car crashes. You would see houses imploding in on themselves, people vanishing, what have you. So, no, anything that is done to influence and affect us, it's going to be done in the spiritual realm, the mental realm, the emotional realm, which when you think about it is so much more powerful. Because if you work on someone's mind long enough, what you will do is get them to cannibalize themselves and erode themselves. In essence, they take their own fist and knock themselves out. This is why it is Someone asked me the other day, Sheila, do you think that true, profound healing is possible without cultivating that spiritual life and that cord with the Lord, the creator of all creation? And my answer, quite simply, no, I do not think that true, profound, deep healing is possible, because it leaves out the quintessential essence of why we are all here. We are all here, in my humble opinion, and based on the life that I've led and the research I've done, is to perfect for God. That's really what this experience is all about. So to leave that off the table and not factor this essence of life into the equation, I think misses the whole point and just leaves a massive big chunk. The biggest piece of the puzzle is left off. So back to dark influences and how they work. The attacks are generally um, on the mind, within the mind. And the more open you are, the more open you are, and more susceptible you are, the greater you will feel that impact. And I want to talk about different pathways that make you open to this kind of energy to really attack you. Um, Various things: trauma, depression, early issues around abuse, um, lack of forgiveness, in general, doing things that disconnect you from mindfulness, heavy drinking, drug use. So many pathways and gateways. Uh, and what I want you to really understand is one of the most powerful tools that you have to insulate your life against these attacks. And I'm going to do something a lot of people don't do. I'm going to tell you why this is so powerful. It really is the powerful of grounded, centered living and cultivating a rich prayer life and that cord of strong connection with the creator of all creation. And why is that so profoundly powerful? Because prayer in and of itself, you will become repugnant and repulsive to those dark influences, because people ask all the time, what truly it is evil, you know what is that energy all about? I think it is purely the perversion. It is the perversion of goodness and of God. I want to reference a powerful YouTube channel. You've heard me talk about it before, and it's called Off the Left Eye, the work of Emanuel Swedenborg. Exceedingly powerful. I am a student of Emanuel Swedenborg, and no one dives into this issue in a more exquisite and thorough way than him. Volumes of books, and I highly recommend that channel because you'll get a very deep understanding of the nature of this energy and what it's about. It's purely operates with the intention of destroying, perverting anything that is good, right, and righteous. And that would include your life and the plans that God has for you. A woman came to me and she was just very candid. She was suicidal. And we started talking more and more. And she would say, there's something in me. It's not necessarily audible voices, but it's just this urge and this drive. Don't be here. And it's the feeling of everyone is going to be better off without you. This is not going to get better. Take yourself out of this. And I said, look at your life. You have children, you have work. She said, Sheila, that's the thing about it. It doesn't fully make sense to me either. So I will invite each and every one of you to take a deeper dive into really understanding the root source of much of that mental chatter and degradation. And if you stand back objectively, it'll start to make all the sense in the world that this is external. This is coming outside of me. And the silver lining there and the good news is You have a lot of power through strengthening that cord of prayer, goodness, and decency to block it. I'm going to get into my strategies in just a moment. And next, I want to say to you that self neglect leaves you wide open. That is a pathway that is ripe for this incessant chitter chatter and these toxic thoughts and these accusations to really take hold in your life. Sheila, what do you mean by self neglect? The greater part of self care is taking time on a daily basis, small chunks of time on a daily basis, bigger chunks of time on a weekly basis, and then monthly and yearly getting into some self retreats, whether it's a half day or a full day, a couple times a year, getting into that energy and that space to look at yourself. As Socrates says, the life that is not examined is just not worth living. If you don't stop periodically and consistently to examine your life, what is going on in my head? We will know the tree by the fruit it bears. What is the kind of fruits that my mind is producing and my life is producing on a consistent basis? I talk to people so much about the power of alignment. You just cannot magically align your life and your mind. You need to take some time every single day. Start with 2 minutes, start with 5 minutes to really ask yourself what is going on in my head, and not just what is going on in my head. What do I want to be thinking, feeling? What do I want to be producing mentally? And let me give you some of those core strategies that I'm talking about. And this is what really came in and made all the difference for me. I went through a time in my life where this stuff would come at me left and right and on and on and on. So, want to give you a couple things for your toolkit. And again, this made the biggest difference for me. When those thoughts hit, so it's one thing to have a thought, a singular thought. It's another thing to go full on and think it and go into that stream of consciousness. So, what I'm going to give you is some powerful and effective tools that will help you right there. Let's leave it at a thought, and let's minimize that and not go into this stream of consciousness where you are thinking it. So, what helped me beyond anything was a couple of key phrases. And when you're in private, you want to say these out loud. That's critical. Okay. And if you're around people, you want to marry yourself to saying them internally as often as you can. And the first one is, it's over. When thoughts come up, it may have to do with your past, something that is over, that is painful for you. I want you to say, it's over, done. It is over. Thank you, Lord, for that one. Because when you don't block it and stop it right there, you're going to go into those cycles of rumination. It spirals your day out, it can spiral your week out, and ultimately your life. Because every single thing that you are thinking, it carries with it a physiological response. And you've heard me say over and over again, we don't respond to what is happening, we respond to what we tell ourselves is happening. So when you say it's done, it's over, it's finished, that carries a different kind of energy. The second thing I want you to go into constantly, this is a lie. This is a lie. In Jesus' name, it's a lie. It is a lie. It is a lie, and I'm not going in for it. This is a lie. Okay? And third, this is another powerful phrase. I am cultivating new ways of thinking and doing things in my life. And isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? You get the gist of what I'm saying. You can play with it. You can put your own narrative and your own style to it, but I want you to train yourself is not to go into that cesspool of toxicity and toxic thinking and toxic images. What has also been very powerful for me and many of the folks that I work with is creating a lot of people. For me, I use the Hail Mary prayer, set it to memory, especially when I was going deeper and deeper into this work, that it just became, throughout the day, that was my ongoing prayer over and over again in my head. If I was washing dishes, if I'm driving, I just got myself in the habit of, certain scriptures, certain prayers, positive things. I made them a repetitive mantra for me, a prayer, a part of me. That is very positive too. And I'll tell you why that energy, whether it's dark influences or heavy toxic patterns of programming from growing up, that chatter stops. That chatter stops the stronger you become in your mind and what you know and what you believe. You ask yourself, how did you get to the point where you're automatically accepting this and living this stuff out? It's repetition. It happened because of repetition, and part of you started to believe it and eat on it, and ingest it. So the good news is you can reverse it. Anything that has been implanted, you see, anything that has been done, we can dig up those seeds, get those roots, throw them out, and put in new seeds. That's what I want to connect you to. It's not something that's done overnight, but I am a living witness to the power of, with great intention, taking control of your mind, what you think, how you think about others. When a toxic thought comes, I sat with a woman, she said, I just, I'm thinking the worst in people all the time. I said, you don't have to accept that. That thought comes, you can overlay that with, you know what? This is a person too. There's reasons for their behavior. I don't know what it is, but I bless them in Jesus' holy name. And we keep going. I want to just connect you to the fact that you have a lot of power, even if you feel like you've been overrun by this toxicity. You have a great deal of power to redirect those thoughts, infuse that spirituality into it, start using these tools, and to take control of your mind. There are people right now, but for the fact that they're overrun with these, toxic implants, repetitive thoughts, they would be enjoying their families. They would be knocking the ball out of the park in their careers. They would be at the park, kicking their heels up at a beach somewhere, reading beautiful books. I'm telling you guys, this is what I know. This is what I know, that we are here to live out our purpose. The opposition that we experience, if we allow it, can really serve to sharpen the saw and can serve to bring us closer into our divinity, closer into our relationship with the Lord, or it can certainly just bottom us out. You choose, you decide. But I can tell you this, I'll go back to what I said. When you really get intentional about this work, you will become, in the most beautiful way, repugnant and repulsive to all negative energies, period. You're really just a turnoff, if you will, and you want to be a turnoff where that is concerned. I've seen just relationship blossom, opportunities come left and right when you get that energy, when you get that energy right, when you get your thought world right. What's going on when you get your thought world in order? It's powerful. It's powerful. There will be a part two to this in the next few weeks, but for now, I've given you some things to chew on, and I do want you to, to chew it, stir it up, bake it, fry it, whatever sounds right for you. I will be back with some more powerful content. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe. I want to hear from you in those comments, and I'll be back real soon. Thank you.